What is up, everybody? Welcome to Hobby Hotline, episode 91. We're getting close to triple digit, guys, but episode 91 of Hobby Hotline. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll let a couple people get in and everything this morning, but as always, my name is Drew, or the DH, and joining me today, we've got Mr. Logan Ward. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. I had I was fortunate enough, or if you're unfortunate enough, to have a root canal earlier this week. So trying to get over that.
Ouch. And
hmm
uh, and also joining me today is Brody the Kid. What's up, Brody?
What's up, Drew?
Not too much, man. Just getting ready. At the end of the show today, I've got a soccer game to coach, so we will be bouncing out a tiny bit early today, guys. But yeah, everything's going good. A lot of awesome news in the hobby. But guys, wanted to start off today's show. I figured there's no better way. If you guys didn't hear the news, we have expanded Hobby Hotline in two different ways, both in the amount of content you guys are going to get and the amount of people that are on the show. What's up, Chris? What's up, Deafness? But we starting in November, we're also going to have a Tuesday night show at 9 p.m. So we are adding a second show that's going to begin in November, and you'll be able to get a lot more information on that here in the future. But also, we added 8 new hosts to the show. So 8 new, awesome, incredible people are coming to the show, and I'd like to give a shout out and a nice Hobby Hotline welcome to those guys right now, guys and gals right now. First, we've got Yamwax coming to the show. We've also got Breakout Cards Ryan Nolan. We've also got 1 Million Cubs Project. The man in the I'll never forget at the National when he was holding the sign. Hobby Hotlines at #1 fan. I love it. It was awesome. We've also got somebody, Logan, I know you're familiar, and a great friend of mine, Jason Dean Martin, coming to the show. We also have baseball collector Mike Moynihan. Sorry if I butchered the name, but I don't think I did. And welcome to the show. And then also, we've got, she's a legend, folks. You guys know her. She used to work at Tops. We've got Miss Suze. I'm not going to butcher your name, Suze, so we're going with Suze joining the show as well. And then in addition to that, in addition to Suze, we also have Chris Carlin from Upper Deck joining the show. And then rounding it out, we've got Adam Palmer for Heroes for Sale. So welcome all 8 new members of Hobby Hotline.
I'm excited for this. There's some of those people I know, but some of them I don't. So it'll be cool to get to know them. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm kind of like you, Brody. There's some of them I know, especially Jason. He hosts NASCAR radio with Val and I, so I'm glad to have him on. So now we've got 3 NASCAR guys on here.
Yeah, you pretty much got the 3 most knowledgeable NASCAR guys in the world on the show in terms of cards. But yeah, I'm like you guys. A couple of these guys I've had on the show, a couple of people I know through the hobby, but then there's a lot that I don't know. And I'm really looking forward to that. And I think that's what makes Hobby Hotline so awesome is we put a lot of people together. Logan, I didn't know you before the show. And, you know, it's nice developing that rapport and everything. But a incredible wealth amount of hobby knowledge between those 8 in multiple different areas. Going to bring a lot to Hobby Hotline. And I'm excited for the second show as well, guys. Tuesdays at 9 p.m. We're going to give you guys still same show, same format, same everything. And you're going to have a whole lot more people joining Hobby Hotline and a whole lot more opinions and everything like that. So welcome to the family, guys. And gals. Cannot wait to see you on the show. But we'll kick it off, guys. A lot of different stuff going on this week, but there's one thing I wanted to touch on real quick, and that was with you, Brody. And you know, on the last couple episodes, and let me get that potograph and on some other shows and a couple specials that I was on. I I had talked about the various new entryways into the hobby. Like there's so many new methods and ways to get into the hobby than there ever has been. You can get into the hobby and never touch a card, and then be dealing with physical cards your entire life. Like it's the craziest time, and all these things are getting massive amounts of money. I mean, things like Rally just had a massive 15 mil funding round. I mean, these places are here to stay. And a lot of, even if it's not Rally, if it's Alt, even just eBay, PWCC marketplaces, everything like that. And then Instagram. I just did a trade that was for a couple $1,000s worth of cards with a 13-year-old kid. Had to talk to his parents first and everything because I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting scammed or anything. But I just did a trade with a 13-year-old kid on Instagram for some very high value cards that they have. And so I wanted to ask you, and Logan, I know you go to a lot of shows, so get your opinion on this also, but Brody in particular, how is the youth of today, because I know you talk to a lot of kids in this hobby, how are they viewing these new entry methods into the hobby, and how is the youth getting involved in the hobby?
Well, I'll first mention Blake G was just on Dr. Beckett's show.
Yeah.
He loves the Project 70 cards every day. The 4 cards that come out, he rates them all, which is really cool. Really cool kid. He was actually in one of DJ Ski's cards in the background, which is awesome. Name on the tour was really cool. But like you said, Instagram is a huge way. I know a couple kids on there. A big one is Cruz's Card Stop. He has, I was trying to do trade with him. He has some ridiculous cards for being a 12-year-old kid. He just trades and sells, and he's got some crazy stuff. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I think these new entryways, and we're also seeing the fractional shares, which would be interesting to see if any kids get into that.
When they're old enough, or use their parents' accounts.
Yeah, if they have enough money and they're interested in owning part of a 1952 Mickey Mantle or whoever. If a kid's a Pirates fan and they love Roberto Clemente or something like that, somewhere around those lines, there's so many new ways in this hobby, and kids are getting involved in it. TikTok, another great example. I'm not on TikTok that much. I'm gonna start. Yeah, you'll see me on TikTok soon. We're gonna get that figured out. But I'm trying to learn the ropes of it because it's different for sure. But yeah, TikTok's a huge example. All my friends are on TikTok nonstop.
Really? Okay. So in terms of like collecting and everything, I mean, do you see people more? Are you doing more collecting and trading and things like that online, or still in person? Is it mostly done through Instagram, or is it more trade night shows, things like that? And Logan, what have you seen at shows and things like that?
Well, what I've seen at shows, especially when I went to the Dallas show and the National, was I saw a lot of kids with their hard cases with their graded cards, and I was around some of these kids when they were going to dealers, asking them if they're wanting to buy or wanting to trade, and some of the cards that these kids had were high dollar cards that were slabbed, PSA 9, PSA 10, Beckett, 9.5 cards, like Justin Herbert and, Zion. I mean, those guys, I just couldn't believe it. And I heard one kid talking, I'd say he was 16, 17 probably. And he was talking to one dealer saying how much money he had made. He had made trading and flipping and all that. I think it was like, I think he said maybe like $100,000 that year. It's like, oh my God, I just could not imagine, doing that at that age when I was collecting cards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do have a question real quick for Brody. Brody wants to know how old you are, and I want to feel old. So tell me how old you are now.
I'm 13 now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just I've known you for so many years.
A lot of people came up to me and said how tall I've gotten, and next year you're not even gonna believe how tall I am.
No, you're gonna end up being you're gonna be huge eventually, brother. But yes, 13 years old and very, very in tune with the hobby. I highly recommend checking him out on Instagram and his Daily Rip show. It's a lot of fun, and all of his other shows. But
yeah, I Instagram has seen pretty big. I mean, I've been like, obviously I'm gaining followers, but on Twitter I'm gaining some, but on Instagram I was looking at it the other day and it's rising a lot. I mean, I just got to 1,000 a couple months ago and I'm already almost to 1,500, and it just, that number seems to keep going up and up and up like crazy.
Well, there's good reason for that, man. You got good content, and I agree. Instagram really for me has been something where I kind of moved off of Twitter and utilized Twitter for a completely different way. Really, it's just promotion and to reach out a little bit, not really conversations. Instagram is really where a lot of stuff has moved, and Instagram's honestly where a lot of my deals have been coming from.
Yeah, I love just clicking through stories on Instagram, scrolling, and just you'll see videos of people pulling crazy cards on there, like just crazy cards, back-to-back videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most of my deals though, I think, have been on Twitter, just because Twitter seems to have known about the Daily Rip for a long time. So I get a lot more interaction on that on Twitter. But I like Twitter for trading and buying, because a lot of people post buying threads. Like I know Ben from Midwest Box Breaks does a sales thread on Saturday, and it will go crazy. There'll be like 700 people, and you can just scroll through stuff, and there'll just be some crazy cards, some not super crazy cards. It's fun just looking through it all and seeing stuff.
But, yeah, absolutely. What's up, Uncle Rich? Canton Card Collector, follow-up question, kind of, Brody, on what we were just talking about. How's the hobby doing in your age group at school? Like, is the hobby something that's being talked about in school and everything? Is it cool again, like when I was in school?
Well, my friends found out like earlier on that I had started this, and so now I have the nickname BTK at my school, and that's pretty much what everyone calls me. But in terms of cards, I've gotten a couple friends into it, but they're not like super into it. It's hard for me. It's been hard to get my friends super into it because they're really busy with sports and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just my friends, I mean, they know about it and they watch my videos and stuff, but it's a lot of money, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Logan, I think you'll agree with me on this. For kids right now and everything, especially at the age of 13, that's kind of right on the border of where you're starting to even get the money to be able to afford something like the hobby today. Like, back when I was collecting, it was very different at 9, 10, 11, and 12. I could easily afford it with my weekly allowance. Now you can't really do that.
13 was about when my dad left. I mean, so he collected as a kid, but like 13 or 14 was when he left, because there was different stuff. There's a lot more stuff going on in high school and stuff, and you need money for car and gas and stuff like that. And with how crazy this stuff is, it's going to get hard, but my parents support me, so I like that.
Yeah, exactly. You got some awesome parents. But, what do you think, Logan?
Well, back when I was Brody's age, I was cutting grass, and I was collecting bottles for deposit to support my hobby needs. And back then you could afford to buy a box of cards. It was $2.40 or $3.60, or however much it was. And I spent I would spend so much time just trying to make money just to buy cards back then. But it's like what Brody said, it's harder these days to take any kind of allowance or anything to really get into the hobby when prices of boxes are so expensive.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, even if you want to get into the hobby diehard, forget about like Rich Klein. I like Nick Redwine, the 3Cs, College Cuties. That definitely plays into it. But even if you want to get into the hobby hardcore these days, I mean, you're going to be working a second job just to be able to afford the hobby aspect of everything, at least if you want any money for everything else in life.
Yeah, especially when you get to college. Sorry, my voice is getting bad. I was at my high school game yesterday, and they're 8-0. So, and it's the first time they've ever had 8 wins. So it's pretty exciting. But
nice.
When you get into college, I mean, obviously you've got classes and exams and stuff, and especially someone like me, when the football game happens or the basketball game happens, I'm in that student section for sure. So yeah, there's, we'll have to see the people that really want to stay in the hobby, they'll pull through, and like you said, they'll have a second job.
Yeah, and the one thing I do see is a whole lot more. At every show I go to, tons of whether it be father-son businesses, whether it be just kids collecting, and like I said, the amount of kids your age and a little bit older, even the kid that I just did a trade with, his collection probably beats mine. I mean, it definitely rivals it. I mean, it's amazing at the ages they are. So the hobby's definitely strong with the youth. But I was curious to see where, collecting really comes from in this younger generation. I figured it was Instagram and places like that, but it's good to know it's healthy. That's the one thing.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so a couple of things. Let's see. Hold on, deafness, or they do it. Some of this didn't stop for a while. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, deafness. There's going to be a lot of people that stop and then come back into it. Once you have that disposable income, I think absolutely a lot of people that are maybe want to collect and can't collect would definitely come back. And I do think the card companies, I think there's a lot that they can do, and hopefully Fanatics in a couple of years does some stuff for this as well. I think Panini's done a great job with the kid boxes and LCSs. Those are great.
Yeah.
Great ways to get kids involved in everything. But I mean, it's going to be up to the card companies to really make it to where there's products geared directly at kids. There's products that are for kids, and there's products that kids have access to. And if they can do that, I think, they'll be fine. But absolutely, deafness, they will definitely be back. A lot of people will definitely come back because, in my opinion, at least looking at what I'm seeing with all these investments and all of these things, this is an asset class now that I think is here to stay.
Yeah, I think all the companies have done a great job. I mean, you mentioned Panini with their kids, great, awesome. You have the Future Stars Club for Topps, which is a lot of cool stuff in there that they throw in it. Upper Deck has a lot of cheaper products, fun products. Their Series 1, Series 2 is one of my favorite sets. Even though I'm not the hugest hockey person, they just do a great job.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a fun rip just to open. I love doing those on the daily rip, but sometimes I have to open 3 packs because I say 3 guys' names wrong. But Leaf's done a great job too. I've seen a lot of $20 blasters from Leaf, and then Sage too. Sage is a company where they're usually probably the first football product to come out for the year.
Yeah,
it's nothing crazy, but the blasters at Target are $20 and you get 3 autos. I mean, for a kid to get 3 autos from a college player, I mean, they might not ever do anything, but I think that's really cool. I mean, I remember a while back, one of those Leaf blasters that you find at Target that has like 2 autos. One of them was a triple auto from offensive lineman from Wisconsin. I laughed. I don't think any of them are in the league, but a triple auto. I think that's my only triple auto, maybe. I think so. I don't remember exactly, but yeah.
No.
Talking about staying in the hobby, going back to that for just a second. I started in the hobby in 1971, and I guess I was one of the few that didn't stop going through college. I mean, I won't say I was cheap, but I was as frugal as I could be, because it seemed like, even though I was going to college, getting my education, my mind was still on trading cards and, finding the money to buy them back then. And during that time, my collecting habits had changed, from buying boxes to, trying to buy higher end cards, trying to find, the nice Mickey Mantle cards and things like that. And even back then, those were expensive, not like they are today, but relatively speaking, they were still expensive. So I've never stopped collecting. I mean, this is, believe it or not, 50 years, Brody, that I've been doing this. So it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, I just had Jonathan Keith from Brothers and Cards. If you guys know him, they run an awesome subscription box. He went to Taylor University and played quarterback, but him and his brother kept it going during college as a little side job, which is awesome. And now they have an awesome subscription box that a lot of people love in this hobby.
Yeah, no.
He's a great guy. Yeah, he's a really good dude. I had a lot of fun doing that interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin Jones actually brings up a comment, and I wanted to see. I guess it kind of flows with the youth as well. Whatnot. Whatnot's another one of those new, along with Loop, one of those new ways for breaking and to get into certain different things. I actually am on Whatnot. They reached out to me to do some stuff for let me get that potograph on there. So I do some occasional things on Whatnot as well. And as Kevin said, the amount of money that is thrown around on Whatnot is crazy, and it is. I mean, it's absolutely insane the amount of money that goes through there nightly. And Loop is the same way. Loop is an incredible platform that flows just as much. But Whatnot, I mean, you look at Whatnot on a Friday, Saturday night, well, really any night and any time, and there's money flowing like crazy. Has the youth, has the next generation embraced that at all? Those kind of breaking apps and things like that.
I have not got on Whatnot much yet, but I definitely will be at some point, because they basically handed me a National Treasures box at the National. If you didn't see that, go watch my Instagram.
Yeah.
From the National, they basically handed me a National Treasures box that's sitting in my cabinet. That was watch the video, because I don't even want to talk about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, you almost won that Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PSA 9 Michael Jordan rookie.
I know. Hey, National Treasure is not a bad backup.
Yeah.
But
especially with how good Herbert's playing and Burrow's playing pretty solid too. I'm definitely not complaining, because that might be a pretty good sell one day. But yeah, I'm definitely going to get on eventually. Same with Loop. I know some people, actually the guy, Kevin Moody, who used to work for Topps, was the man that basically started Brody the Kid. He kind of gets the credit for it, because he was the one that reached out to me and asked me to be Brody the Topps Kid back at that 2018 National. So if it wasn't for him, I'd probably just be the little kid collector that goes to the card shop every now and then and buys a couple packs. But he pretty much started it for me.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Ian, I agree. I've been having a blast as well. And yeah, Kevin, there's a dark side to any aspect of the draw, of the hobby, 100% anywhere you go. I mean, it's really no different than breaking anywhere, but there's a lot. But Whatnot is generating a lot of money flowing, and I'm noticing it's a lot of people that aren't on social media, that aren't using Facebook, that aren't using Instagram, that don't like the social media aspect of everything, that just want to break, that don't want to deal with all the other posts and everything, that just want an app that they can hop on and buy stuff. Those are the people that I'm meeting and getting to know a lot on there. Logan, have you dealt with Whatnot at all?
I have not, and I was wanting to ask you guys a question. I mean, do you guys think there's going to become a point where there's going to be a social media overload for content creators? I mean, how many platforms can you get on?
Mhm.
If you have actual time to actually develop content for, do
Well,
you think there's going to be an overload at some point?
Well, I mean, there was for me. That's why I stopped using Twitter as much. It was getting to the point where it was more frustrating than anything to use. Looking at analytic wise, I was doing much better on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. I mean, I took a look at it before I just, decided to just kick it to the curb. And I haven't kicked it to the curb. I'm active on there, but not near as much. More for Hobby Hotline than I am for Let Me Get That Potograph. But yeah, I mean, I think there definitely is 100%. You've got to diversify. People don't want to see the same ad or something or the same promo on
Yeah.
every single social media post every single time, every single day. So you've got to do, a lot of different things. We do have a question for Brody here from Matt Baisley or Matt Balsley. Thanks for joining the show. Hope I didn't butcher that name. But how do you think card companies can get the next generation from sports cards into non-sports cards? There are a lot of Pokemon collectors, like when I was Matt seems to be around my age. Pokemon was massive around my time, and so was a couple other things like Pogs. I wish Pogs would come back. I'd be a millionaire. But non-sports were a lot bigger back then. But how do you think card companies can get the next generation into Pokemon and things again, or is Pokemon really big again with the youth of today?
Well, I know Steve Aoki started his own. I got a pack of it at the National. I don't Murtazu, something somewhere around those lines. I don't remember exactly what it was called. But Topps does some really cool Star Wars products. I think Top Star Wars Chrome, I think, came out not too long ago, which those stuff is beautiful. They've done some stuff with the Mandalorian. Goodwin Champions and Allen Ginter is a great example.
Yeah.
There's so many people on there. Well, technically they're all sports players, but there's divers and ping pong players, chess players, for crying out loud.
Right.
But yeah, I think it'd be really cool. I mean, if they could take that, if they could make a Goodwin Champions or Allen and Ginter that's non-sports and try to do something like that. I mean, there's a lot of options in Pogs. That's funny, but yeah, I used to collect Pokemon a lot. I more of played it, really. I didn't really collect it for value or anything like that. I mean, if somebody hands me some Pokemon packs, I mean, I'll rip them. I'll rip them for sure. The sensation of just ripping a pack is really fun for me.
Oh yes.
I do the same thing with a granola bar. I'll rip it and I'm like, oh, it's like I'm opening a pack of cards. But I don't know, it just comes naturally. But yeah, Allen Ginter, Goodwin Champions. Trying to think what else. I don't. Trying to wrestling is another big one. That, I mean, technically that's a sport, but it's different.
It's going. Hey, that stuff's going up, man. With AEW stuff coming out, there's a buzz again.
There's also the digital apps too that all the companies do. There's some non-sports ones too. I'm pretty sure there's a Star Wars one for Topps. Panini has their football and basketball ones. There's a wrestling one too. I don't think that one's not run by Topps, but I know Topps I think has a wrestling one, and then there's a wrestling one that's run by a different company that's pretty fun that has cards and stuff too. Yeah, I mean, I know that my last interview I did with Tyson Beck, he has his Muhammad Ali set on Tops.com, which is
So
really
nice.
cool. Yeah, I think he said he's like 6 or 7 cards through. I would check that out. It's a really cool set and different because I think boxing cards is another interesting thing that maybe should come to the platform because I think that would be really cool. I mean, just look at how crazy Wilder versus Fury's fight was and how the
Yeah.
hype and everything. It was a great fight, and I think they could do some really, really cool stuff with boxing stuff like that. Um, yeah, I think if one of the companies, I don't know, I have no idea, but if one of the companies could buy Pokemon and do something even greater with it, I mean, I don't know who owns Pokemon. I don't know the logistics of it, but
Yeah.
if somebody could buy it, they could make it better. Make numbered cards and stuff like that. They could do stickers of Pokemon. I mean, there's a ton of routes that companies could go with something like Pokemon or Magic and whatever the heck else out there is. There's a million things, but we'll see. The Steve Aoki thing could be huge. Well,
Yeah.
I will see. That's why my dad told me, don't rip that pack of cards. Keep it in case this thing comes huge. And I'm like, oh, fine. I won't rip this pack of cards. It's hard.
Right, absolutely. And guys, please call in and join the show. We've got the link here in the page. I'll post it again in the comments for you, but it is posted a couple times throughout. Call in with any questions or comments that you do have on the hobby, and so yeah, I agree. I think the biggest drawback with Pokemon right now, at least, it's making some of these new sets not hold value and increases because it's the same thing.
Mm,
There's no innovation. They put out a couple of different sets this year. They're
yeah,
celebrating their 25th, but all they did was make some other colored pretty little cards. There's no innovation like there was back in, like, I believe 2003 or 2004. There was some Topps Chrome Pokemon,
mm,
and they looked really cool. I could only imagine what they could do now. But I think one way to get more people in general interested into those, beyond just kids, is to change up the game a little bit, change up some of the card stock, change up
yeah.
some of all of this, add some new parallels, everything. You know what I mean? What do you think, Logan?
Well, I think also part of it is the price point as well. You know,
Yeah,
if you're wanting to get kids hooked and have them become lifers in the hobby, they've got to be able to afford the cards, and I
yeah,
think price point is part of it. And you got to realize that Pokemon started out as it was a game, and I mean it still is a game. Don't get me
yeah.
wrong,
Well, yeah,
but you know now there's the actual collecting of the card and getting the cards graded aspect of it as well. Um, but I do think the price point is is certainly something that these manufacturers need to try to consider to get people in, people in, and then once you're in it and once you're excited about it, I mean you're always wanting to get more and you're wanting to get better and make your collection better and spend more money and do all those things. So I think that if they could do that, I think they would get a lot more younger people and kids hooked.
Yeah, I think Tops has done the best job with non-sports stuff because
yeah,
look at what they did with Garbage Pail Kids,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
with Chrome and Chrome Sapphire. That was incredible. They Chrome Sapphire was really fun ripping, just interesting looking at those guys, those crazy fat guys and stuff, and then it's got all the it's
I
sapphire,
know.
but with you know on those cards, it's just funny and fun. Um, but I saw that Nintendo owns Pokemon,
Yeah,
which is interesting.
yeah.
Um, So that would be hard probably to purchase.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm surprised they ever gave
and
it to
those,
Tops for a year or two.
yeah.
I don't know how they skirted that one, but anyway.
Yeah, I know I used to go to my LCS and I think I won there was a box of like what it was like biker and skateboard cards. It was something weird, but
Right.
it was kind of fun. I mean, like some of the inserts were really cool if they're midair. I mean, obviously I didn't know who the heck anyone was, but if they were like, if you have a landscape card and they're like midair on a bike or skateboard or something like that, that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I completely agree. And Canton Card Collector brings up a great comment, and this is something I wanted to talk about with you guys today. Guys, we are going to be ending the show about 5 minutes early today, as I've got a soccer game to coach at noon. But Canton Card Collectors brings up that they brought that Upper Deck got smart and hired the
Yep.
old Metal Universe collectors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Metal Universe, I literally have a stack right here to go through today of metal inserts and everything. I've
Smartest
opened
thing they could've
cases
done.
of it. It's one of the nicest products of the year.
Yeah.
And Upper Deck is done. There you go.
Yeah, those cards are beautiful.
They have done an incredible job of bringing back the old creators of a lot of their classics. They brought back the creator of Exquisite, for example. They've really brought back the Dream Team at Upper Deck. As I mentioned at the beginning of this show, you'll be able to get a lot more detailed information with that now that Chris Carlin has joined the show. Those are my favorite. The net deposits.
These are beautiful.
And then the Portrait Star Rubies are some beautiful autos. The Portrait Star Rubies autos are gorgeous.
These,
yes,
the clear
Alons are nice.
Awesome. Yeah,
those are from your daily rip the other day.
Yeah, I did do it on my daily rip.
Yeah, so with everything coming out, with Upper Deck getting the big team back together, which the creator of Metal, she's one of the nicest ladies in the world and does some of the most incredible stuff. There's an old video with her where she talks about the process of building the initial Metal set, and it's one of the most incredible videos ever. Like the amount of work and detail that went into every single card and every background was just so unique and so amazing. And so having her back, bringing back Jambalaya, bringing back these classic inserts is just amazing for Upper Deck. And it coincides with the NHL returning to ESPN. NHL's has gotten all the way back to ESPN. We do have a caller, and we're going to bring him in for just a minute. And he is one of the new members of Hobby Hotline, Adam from Heroes for Sale. What's up, man?
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. Thank you for having me.
What's up, bud?
Hey, so I was listening. I'm wondering, what do you guys think about how much, what's the point for nostalgia where brands can either tap into nostalgia versus trying to establish almost new IP and kind of make that the branding that 10, 20 years from now, that will be kind of considered nostalgia, like with Pokemon and all that kind of stuff. Do you guys think that there is... where do you think the line is, I guess, is my question, between using nostalgia and then trying to create it, I guess?
Sure. Logan?
Well, I think the nostalgia aspect keeps the current collectors in, and creating the new content is to try to entice, newer blood and newer collectors to come into the hobby. I mean, that's kind of how I see it.
I mean, I lean towards, obviously the nostalgia factor I think is massively important, especially in something like Pokemon, because it is a game, remember, at its core. And so they do want to keep it semi-regular and everything. But I do think that there are ways that you can create and do offshoots and everything. But I think those would be the special edition things. And I think those would be the things that if you did special one-off things that maybe aren't for the game, like the giant jumbo cards that they do and things like that, and all these commemorative little things, if you focus less on little commemorative coins and maybe into some other stuff, I think that's really the threshold. I wouldn't be jumping at making a million different things, but I wouldn't be opposed to seeing, and I think it would help a lot if they upped, maybe put out a product or two a year that was, based off the game, but more of, something different, a little more unique, a little more, pushing the envelope a little bit.
Well, yeah, you mentioned the coins and stuff like that. Last year was the first time that I really loved ripping a Topps blaster, because they in Series 1 they did the rookie commemorative patch things, but it was all sorts. It was like Mike Trout and all sorts of stuff. If I had it around, I'd show you, but who knows where in the world it is. But there was like a little medallion that had the rookie card symbol, but then I pulled Mike Trout the first time, and it was just really cool because I'm like, I'm not going to get a Mike Trout rookie card for at least a couple years, unless if I somehow magically find one in a bin, which I don't think is going to happen. But I really love Upper Deck bringing the set back, because this stuff was really cool, and they made it so that you can still collect it, but you don't have to worry about the surface factors, and I think that's why the set got out of the game, because
I think this set's also a great example of utilizing that retro aspect, bringing back the feel to the collectors of the 90s and everything.
And I see that word Skybox on the bottom, and I want a Skybox set back, because that Skybox basketball, the first one with the gold borders, is maybe my favorite set all time. I had so much when that stuff was cheaper. I ripped so much of that. Those cards were so cool. The backs would have like Michael Jordan's card on the back. He'd be like stinking golfing or something.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. It was so funny.
So Adam, where do you think the line is on this?
So a set that I really like actually is obviously is the Exquisite set, and like what they've done is they've essentially every year they just come out with the same looking card, like I think from the LeBron year specifically, like from the LeBron year I believe was the first one. At least of the Exquisite RPAs, and then they had there was a Steph Curry version. I know Joe Burrow had one. I think Jason Dominguez had one. I think Shohei Ohtani has one from his rookie year. So I feel like if it's hard to, you can't almost force it in a way. I guess that's one way I look at it. It's like if they were to come out with like an Exquisite set that was all base cards and no rookie autographs, like that's something that I wouldn't like. But I like the fact that they have an established IP with Exquisite, and that they're able to recreate it in a way that still is desirable, but not like overdoing it and like mass producing it in a way, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, man, it's great to have you joining the show. Looking forward to having you on the show here on Saturdays and Tuesdays. But thanks for the call, brother.
Absolutely. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, welcome to the team, my man.
Welcome.
See you.
Thank you.
Peace out.
See you guys.
All right, that was Adam Palmer from Heroes for Sale over on Instagram and Twitter. Definitely go check him out. Great content, and really, really happy to have him join the show. But guys, it's that easy. You don't have to throw video on if you don't want to or anything. Just call in. Just hit us up and let's chat. That's what this is all about. We got about 10 minutes left here. Just threw the link up here in the chat. But yeah, Canton, I completely agree. What's up, Brad? But Skybox is something that I think needs to be utilized heavily. And I would love nothing more than to see, which Upper Deck, one thing as we talk a little bit more on them, Upper Deck is something that I think, they do a great job of including older cards that weren't fulfilled. They include them in later releases. They do such a unique job of doing different things that they could bring back the Autographics line. That was really the first line that was multiple products. It went across their entire Skybox line. You could pull the Autographics cards. And so I would love to see Skybox come back. You're right in my wheelhouse when you're talking about that stuff. I mean, seriously, sitting right here on the wall is some Iverson. So, I mean, it's everywhere in my house.
Yeah, Canton Card Collector also brings up Sports Flicks, which are the 3D cards.
Yeah,
and I have a soft spot for the 3D cards. I mean, I know that's old technology; it's not shiny or anything like that, but that takes me back to being a kid and buying Frosted Flakes and getting my Kellogg's cards out of the boxes. Back in the good old days. I love Sports Flicks. They even had a NASCAR Sports Flicks one year that I collected, and that was a pretty cool set.
Yeah. If Upper Deck could throw in an insert of the original Skybox set into like Goodwin Champions or something, that would be oh my goodness, that would be so cool.
So
I also really loved Action Packed back that.
Oh yeah.
If they could do something with that, I'm like if a company can get that, I'm all on board. I'll buy a case. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah, the embossed cards are really cool. I love them. And Panini, I think, has the name for Action Packed right now.
Panini,
they've done some NASCAR with that, but it's not embossed. Which I'm thinking if you're going to do Action Packed, it needs to be embossed. That's what they were known for.
I think they should.
They did some football, and it was not embossed, and I immediately was so incredibly disappointed. You cannot do Action Packed without embossed. But those are some of the things right now that I think would be huge to be doing, especially as we're moving into this unknown era and everything of the hobby here in the next couple of years, exploring these ideas, exploring all of this different stuff. As they talked last week, the Nippon League, I think Euro basketball is next. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Euro leagues end up signing some contracts, and those are going to include NBA veterans, including rookies that were drafted that go play overseas, international prospects. So many different things open up, but I think that's one thing that a lot of card companies are going to be doing is testing the waters with some of this different stuff. And I think these type of releases and relying on that heritage in that back area, I think can be a very good idea as long as you keep it exclusive. As long as you don't make it so watered down that everyone has it.
Yeah, we just saw the AAU team Tops Now cards that came out. Those have been pretty big. But I think with Tops might turn to some different stuff that they don't need a license for, like AAU cards and stuff like that. And we might see it from Panini too soon. But yeah, those AAU Tops Now cards are really cool.
No, I agree. They're absolutely incredible. When I saw them, I was blown away. I was like, okay, these are pretty cool.
They're really shiny compared to the regular Tops Now card.
They are
foil on them. They're really. That's really cool that they did that. It's just a cool set.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the NIL stuff is going to be awesome, and I think it's going to help a lot of these card companies as we move forward. And I think it brings a whole new meaning to a lot of different stuff. And, it could have the baseball effect, I call it, as we got a couple more minutes here, guys. And I do want to re-announce what we announced at the beginning of the show. But you've got all of this what? Hold on, never mind. Up at Canton, I bet that Euro basketball cards be a hot item. No, absolutely, and that's what I was. And that perfect segue. It's like you were reading my mind. We got the Major League Baseball postseason right now, and you got players that are doing incredible. You got players that are making a name for themselves and being legendary, and you look at their card market, and it's not rising that much. And you can attribute it to a lot of things, but in football, in basketball, when you hit postseason, when you hit football, it's by the game no matter what. You see a rise all the time, but in baseball, you don't see a massive postseason rise. You've got to do something insane to see that rise. And I think a reason of it is because of Bowman baseball and that they've been prospecting these people for so long. Some of them 10 years, some of them 6-7 years, and they're a rookie in the World Series, and you've been collecting their cards. And so, I think it's almost kind of baked in by then because you start at the prospecting level in baseball. But I do agree that Euro basketball cards, and I mentioned this the other day, as soon as I saw the Nippon League, I thought, okay, Euro basketball is an untapped market with countless different leagues and is perfect for a card license because you've got veteran NBA players, rookie talent, you've got everything you need.
Yeah, like you said, for baseball, the people that will have a rise maybe is a guy like, the only people that are really, really did something, like you said, crazy is like Enrique Hernandez had the walk-off RBI. Chris Taylor hit the walk-off home run. Right. Not biased, Luis Robert went on an absolute tear during the postseason. I mean, he hit 370 at the end of regular season, and in the playoffs, he was just getting single after single after single. But yeah, I think the Euro Leagues, that's something interesting, and a year or two that we could be talking about on Hobby Hotline as being one of the hottest things.
Yeah, it's definitely an untapped market for sure. And when I think about it, I'm surprised that we haven't seen those cards already.
Me too. No, 100%. I thought they would have gone after him right now. I just don't think. I think before. I mean, let's be honest. I think the card company just got comfortable, and they had their routine. They had their licenses. They might explore some different stuff, but they weren't running out to find licenses and find new alternate ways of making money. And now they need to be. And now it's a race to see who can secure some long-term deals. As I'm noticing a lot of these very short-term deals, I think a lot of these companies want to feel these different companies out. Don't be surprised if a lot of these new licenses do change hands a couple times before they settle on a 5 to 10 year type thing. But no, absolutely. I think I was shocked when I was thinking about it that it hadn't already happened. I know there are some releases out there from some minor companies, but now they've got printing presses over there. Heck, Topps has got a printing press right over there. I mean, they can't print serial numbers, but they've got a printing press right over there ready to print the cards. So, I mean, get it done. Let's see some Euro basketball.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before. It'll be interesting with Panini and Fanatics and everything, but the G League, when you just saw LiAngelo Ball or whatever his name is going to the G League. So he'll be drafted next year.
Oh,
he's supposed to be the best of the three.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
You will see G League. You will see G League cards, and guys, I do want to wrap it up with one thing. I think you're going to see the G League here. Honestly, I think that this is going to be a turn in the next 5-7 years where you start to see the G League pretty much be like Bowman and almost prospecting, have a first type of card for basketball and then a rookie card. I see basketball going that route as they move away from college. And that's a discussion, guys, we can have on a future episode of the show. One more time, I do want to introduce the 8 new members of Hobby Hotline. First, Adam Palmer for Heroes for Sale, who called in earlier. We also have Jason Dean Martin from NASCAR Radio. We also have Mike Moynihan, along with Bo Thompson, 1 Million Cubs Project. We've also got Ryan Nolan joining the show. We've got Upper Deck's main man, Chris Carlin, joining the show. We've got the man himself, Yamwax. And we've got Suze, formerly from Tops and doing her own thing and one of the biggest Jeter collectors in the world, all joining the show. And guys, we've also got a second show starting in November. So in a couple of weeks, we will have a show on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. also. So you'll get Hobby Hotline twice a week. It won't be the exact same host from Sunday to Tuesday. It'll be different, random every single time. But the Hobby Hotline group is up to 20. So NSCC main stage, make that stage a little more secure because you're going to need a lot more tables and a lot more microphones. But guys, as always, it is a pleasure. I've got to go coach some youth soccer. But Logan, it's always a pleasure, my man.
Yep, same here. You can find me, Val, and Jason on NASCAR Radio. We have new episodes dropping every Friday. And you can catch me. I'm King NASCAR on Twitter and Instagram.
All right, and Brody, as always, brother, it's great to see you, man.
Yeah, for sure. On YouTube, Hobby Life Show. I've had a couple episodes lately. My last one was with Tyson Beck, artist from Project 70. Check that one out. Awesome interview. Love interviewing the Aussies.
No, it absolutely was.
Yeah, and then check out my daily rip on my Twitter and Instagram. And Val, speaking of the daily, or not Val, Logan, stay on after. I want to show you something that relates to daily rip. I don't know why I called you Val. I'm just.
And always, guys, let me get that potograph and let her rip, along with all Hobby Hotline and Sports Card content crossover. But you can find me at Let Me Get That Potograph or the DHSC on whatnot. But guys, it's a pleasure. Thank you guys so much for tuning in the show. We will see you next week. Talk to you later. Peace
out, everyone.